Right, we're going to be looking at drawing this mechanism. They've given you this little diagram over here. It's called a schematic diagram of the mechanism. Obviously, you need to transfer all of that information over here very, very accurately. It says here, you've got a schematic drawing of a mechanism consisting of crank OA. Okay, let's just look at that idea of a crank. There is crank OA. If you read further on in the question, it says that the crank is going to be rotating in a clockwise direction. Here we go, it's going in a clockwise direction around like that. Okay. It says here that we've also got a sliding rod AB. There is sliding rod AB. That story of it being sliding, if we read further on in this question, you'll see that you've got a horizontal groove FG. That sliding rod is obviously going to be sliding within that groove over there. So that's going to be sliding up and down, and it's sort of trapped in that groove over there, going up and down like that. Right. It also says that you've got a swivel guide E. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Here we go. Here is a swivel guide. You can see that I'm able to rotate around there. And as I'm rotating, this thing is also able to shift itself back and forth within that swivel guide. That little piece over there is going to be this piece over here of CD. Okay, going through the swivel guide at E. Right, let's have a look at how to go about drawing this thing. You'll see that I've got 3 sets of compasses here, just to speed things up a little bit. Right, to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this circle over here. They tell you that it's going in a clockwise direction, therefore I must number in a clockwise direction. If it was anti-clockwise, I'd obviously need to go in the other direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., going round to 12. I'm then going to take this distance AB, set on this pair of compasses over here, and you can see that that is point number 1. I'm going to mark off on this line FG a point which I'm going to label number 1, and that is obviously at that length of AB. Right. I then come to number 2, and I mark that off, and I label it 2. Go to number 3, mark it off, label it number 3. Go to number 4, etc., etc., etc. So you'll end up with all of your numbers all the way up to 12 using that same method, just taking that length of AB, going to any of those points, marking it off and labeling it. That's very, very important to make sure that you've labeled things correctly. Right, once I've got that, well, we need to have a look at drawing lines going from these points. So I've got this line over here, 1 to 1. I'm going to have another little line going from 2 going down to 2. There it is. Okay, construction line going all the way down there. Once I've got that, I'm then going to take this distance over here of B to C. You see that little distance over there? I then take that across to where I've got my 2, and I mark that off on that line that I've just made. There we go, and you can see that I've labeled that point on this line that I just drew back to 2. That point is number 2. I'm then going to go to number 3. Take a line going from point number 3 to that point over there, number 3. Once I've drawn that line in, I then take my small pair of compasses again, still set to that distance BC, go to 3 over there, mark it off, and label it number 3. Same story for 4. I'm going to go to 4, draw a line going from 4 to 4 over there, take your small pair of compasses and mark off number 4. There we go, there's number 4. And we do that all the way around, taking lines from 5 to 5, take this distance from 5 to 5. Line from 6 to 6, go to 6 and mark off 6, etc., etc., in order to find all of those marks going from 1 all the way through to 12 and back to 1. Right, once I've got that in place, I then need to take lines coming from all of these points that I've just found, going down through that point E. So I've got number 1 at C, going through point E, going down to D, and that's my point number 1. I then go along to point number 2. I take a point point number 2. Let me just find that quickly. There's point number 2. Point number 2 over there. Take that down through E. Point number 3. Go to number 3, wherever that is. There it is. From 3, take a line coming down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All of those lines coming from these points over here, going through E. Right, once I've done that, I then take my last pair of compasses, that distance over there, you can see from C to D, there's point 1 at C, there's point 1 at D. I then move to point 2. There's point 2, and I mark off point 2 on the line coming down through E, there's point 2. Go to point 3, there's point 3, and there's point 3. You can see the line coming down there. Point 4, there's point 4, point 5, there's point 5, point 6, etc., etc., getting all of those points. And once I've done that, what I like to do is I just draw a little dotted line curve going through all of those points over there. And the same story over here, a little dotted line curve going through all of those points over there. And once I've got the dots in the right place, I can then follow that through quite nicely and draw in a nice dark arc which links all of those points beautifully. And you should, at the end of the day, get all of your marks if you've drawn a beautiful curve. Right, there we go. Going through, and there we go. There's that curve, and there's this curve which goes all the way through to 1, continuing around. And there we go. Right, there you go. There's your plotted curves.